How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Delhi Capitals. How do you put an end to your unbeaten run at the start of the tournament? You run yourself into trouble. A hat-trick of run-outs to decide what was a thrilling game, one that completely turned around, effectively after a change of ball, but even before that, when they were 119 for 1 with Karun Nair supposed to be the headline of this post-match show. Unfortunately, it's Mumbai Indians that take the headlines and the points. They win by 12 after having lost 2 games by 12. 12 is the number of the day on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Riggin for Timeout. That 12 point was brought to you by Piyush Chawla, who is so good with his numbers and accurate, he told me.
I'm learning from Matt.
No, the chemistry continues. This matchup between Matt and Chawla. Unbelievable. Let's start with the end. Just 3 runouts. I don't think I've ever seen a game decided by 3 runouts or a hat-trick of runouts.
Yeah, and there was some chaos in a couple of overs before as well. If you think that over of Trent Bolt Yorkers, there were 2 at least run-out opportunities.
Yeah, they were getting close.
It felt like, despite the fact that they've had such a good start to the season, Delhi suddenly panicked almost in the face of being so close to the finishing line.
So strange, because 2 of the best chasers, Wasim, PC, were by Delhi. Ashutosh kept his composure and won that game against LSG. KL Rahul just in the last game. How do you explain the last few minutes of what we've seen?
Last few minutes were quite good for Mumbai Indians. That's how I will explain. At one point of time, the Delhi team looked like they'll win the game easily. But that over by Trent Bolt, that actually sets up the tone. And after that, that run-out hat-trick, because the way Ashutosh was batting, he should be backing himself to score 10-12 runs in the last over. So there was actually no need to run those 2 where he took that risky 2 and he got run out.
Yeah, I think, Wasim, you've sat in the coach's dugout. This is a coach's nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, Shane Watson introduced the word coach killer to me the other day. Watching 3 runouts like that, some of the shots, this must be infuriating for the coach.
It is. I think they got the calculation wrong, in my opinion. Like PC said, he should have backed himself, just taken a single there. Mitchell Stark would have been on the strike. He would have tried to, score some runs of that last 2 deliveries. And last over a Bolt, he's not known to bowl in the death, even though he bowled that 17th over really well. But Ashutosh should have backed himself. But yeah, I mean, they've kind of given up the win
the advantage
to MI.
Yeah. But they were 119 for 1 even before all that happened.
Yeah.
So I think this might be the first game this season that has been quite significantly decided by the change of ball, a rule that wasn't there last year. How big a part did that play?
I think it was huge. If you look at the 6 overs after the change of ball, they lost 6 for 48 in that phase. And 4 of those overs, 4 of the next 5 were bowled by spinners, 2 by Karun Sharma, 2 by Mitchell Santner. That felt like a really decisive passage to me, especially because both of them were getting the ball to grip. I mean, the Santner ball to get Karun Nair before the ball change was a huge spinning one, and then Karun continued to turn it off the straight.
When you say Karun and Karun, I'm struggling to hear. So you stick to last names. Okay, you say Nair or you say Sharma. But yes, Matt's point is valid. The spin was allowed to go on till late because of the change of ball. What do you sense happened in that period?
We saw in the first inning the ball was definitely gripping with the kind of ball when it was, not that, not that wet. But in the second inning, we saw after the dew effect came in and when the ball was changed, there was definitely turn for the bowlers. And Karun, being a wrist spinner, experienced enough to bowl in the right areas, and the way he has bowled, you have to give a lot of credit to him, because it's not easy when you come to a team after 6-7 games and then you all of a sudden you get a chance in this kind of situation where the other team is going berserk at you. And Mitchell Santner, the way he also bowled, and especially the ball which he got Nair out, I think that really changed the game course of the game.
And Karun wasn't named impact sub at the start of the innings. They only subbed Rohit out at the end of the 5th or 6th overs. They were still waiting, I can only assume.
They were waiting because they must be thinking whether to go with Ashwini or with Karun. But I'm sure they must have made up their mind looking at the first inning, the way Kuldeep and Vipraj bowled.
How do you sense he bowled though? Just Karun Sharma, who's been around
I think
for
he
so
bowled
long.
well. I think he bowled well, but he is complemented by some bad shots as well. Christian Stubbs and KL, I think they kind of gifted away the wickets with the kind of situations they were in. But a lot of credit for Karun because he was not, he didn't look like he was going to play at all. But I think they got the impact sub decision right. MI, got a lot of credit for that.
What were the biggest problems of those two shots? Because KL is in such good form and Stubbs was the guy who played so well at the other end in a much longer period of time. What were you most disappointed with if you were batting coach there?
Well, I just think they needed to take the game a little deeper. Tristan Stubbs just came to the crease and playing that high risk shot, even though it was in the slot, but the ball was gripping. Little bit more time would have helped, knowing that the ball's spinning. And KL for playing that shot, slog sweep on that kind of pitch where the ball's spinning. I think that shot wasn't on at that stage.
I think particularly in the impact sub era, you quite often get these situations where players are willing to go so hard because they know that their team bats deep, but then that can almost have the opposite effect where you just lose that cluster of wickets and no one steps up and takes responsibility in a big chase like that.
But this team, even though they bat deep, this equation didn't require going hard. After the Karun Nair-Porel partnership, this was an 8-over game, if I'm not wrong, if I break down this game.
I think that was the problem, was once they started losing wickets, they stopped scoring, so it suddenly crept up to 10 quite quickly. And at that point, I think they sort of got caught in two minds between, do we go hard or do we take it deeper?
It's funny because a team that's winning normally doesn't make these mistakes. And you would still, even on a gripping surface, I'll talk about the pitch in a minute, PC, but you would sense at the Kotla, even in the last 3 overs, 10, 12 an over is not a tough
Nowadays, 10, 12 in an over is not a big task in any ground for that matter. Yeah. And especially when you look at the boundary measurements of Kotla. So it's an easy task, but you have to give credit to the bowlers and, as Wasim bhai mentioned, some very ordinary batting as well.
Yeah, I think the tone of comments right now is that is reckless shot selection from Stubbs. One of the things, and you have 2 timeouts, wouldn't you kind of have a little plan like, okay, it's gripping, or a message sent, which we know Delhi is very active in the dugout with, that let's not play across. And KL Rahul's shot, I thought, wouldn't you just, because he's so gifted, say, yeah, let's not take that option, let's go straight.
I think he tried to hit one shot towards long on and it got a top edge and it went to cover. Probably that must have prompted him to take that option because the ball was spinning. So he would have thought that maybe playing that kind of shot will give him runs. But I just think they needed to be a little bit more smart. You could see the other way around. MI dugout was so proactive. They kind of insisted to Hardik that this guy needs to bowl from here, that guy needs to be bowled here. I wonder how Hardik has taken that, but it kind of worked.
Did he get a little carried away with Hamid's spin though? Because after that excellent bowled over, we were a little surprised that Santner's going to bowl, what was it, the 18th, I think? 18th over when there was Hardik himself, the 1 over of Bumrah, of course, but you could have then said, Trent's bowled a really good second over, I can give him another. But that was a dangerous call at the time, wasn't it? A gamble.
And especially after the first ball 6 and second ball 4, you felt that it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But the way Santner bowled, he bowled that wide ball, and after that Mitchell Starc came, and the last 2 deliveries also, it was right in the slot as we were discussing off air. He was just lucky to get away with that.
In fairness though, I think this would give Santner a big feel-good game because he's going to play in this team more than he's ever played for CSK. I think he must have already crossed more overs he's bowled this season in 6 games than 5 years at CSK. But to have not just that run out, but Mitch Santner is going to play a tough role, you would sense. How do you sense he bowled?
Well, when you're a lead spinner of a team like MI, when most of the games you're going to play at Wankhede, you will be the lead spinner. So it is a tough job to do because if you see Wankhede is a kind of pitch, and especially in T20 cricket, which doesn't give too much help to the spinners. You just have to bowl really well to get those wickets and stop those scoring rates. But this game definitely would have helped to give him that mental confidence.
Did the Karun Nair wicket happen after the ball change or before?
I think it was just before, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was just before 13 overs.
So the ball was changed when Karun was dismissed, you're saying? No, the wicket happened first.
The wicket happened before.
All the more reason then, with a relatively wettish ball, how good a ball is that to get Karun Nair, which we'll talk about. The innings is a story in itself, but of all the shots he played, he's actually got out to one defending.
Yeah, that was fantastic delivery. To get somebody out who was batting so well, I feel it needed a delivery like that to dislodge him because he was playing beautifully. He was looking like taking the game away. Maybe get 100 would be a great comeback story.
It's already a great comeback story. 100 would have been the icing, but let's talk Karun Nair. I think regardless of the result, most people who follow Indian cricket, domestic cricket, the story of Karun Nair, the tweet in December, dear cricket, please give me one more chance. Now this is not India colours. This is as close to the big spotlight as it gets, the IPL. What an innings, Wasim. Sum it up.
Fantastic. And the way he took on Bumrah as well. I mean, nobody takes on as good as Bumrah. But he came on and he was, looking like he was man possessed. And he played all around the park. And didn't look like the guy is away from IPL scene for so long. But I'm really happy to see him bat like that. I said on this couch before as well that he should have been given opportunity, because the kind of form that he carried in the first class cricket should have been given more opportunity before Samir Rizvi. But I'm really happy for him, even though it came in a losing cause.
I mean, that stat, which is on your screen now, 26 runs versus Bumrah in the power play for Karun Nair, is the most for any batter against the great Jasprit Bumrah in the power play in all T20s. PC, Karun.
That tells you the whole story, what kind of a form he is in. And I always said, the guy who's not playing international cricket, it's really important for them to play domestic cricket, because 6 months of domestic cricket you play, you have runs, wickets behind your back, and even if you don't have that, at least you know you have bowled n number of balls, or you have faced number of balls while going into bat. And when you come to a big stage like this, you have to have that confidence mentally, and that's really proved today what Karun Nair is going through. The way he batted in Vijay Hazare Trophy, averaging around 700 at one point of time, and today it really paid off.
Yeah, I mean, we've been following his domestic performances, and he has reinvented his T20 game. Because that innings almost throughout, but for maybe the first 7-8 balls, went at a strike rate in excess of 200.
Yeah, and some of the shots, I mean, PC says you have to have serious confidence to be playing a sort of wristy flick for 6 over square leg off Jasprit Bumrah in the power play, especially when it's your first game of the season. He's not played regularly in the IPL since 2018. This time 12 months ago, he was freezing in county cricket playing for Northants, not even part of an IPL squad. So it's some comeback story.
Well done also, I guess, to picking him from the Delhi management at the auction table. Many times these players aren't rewarded, so that's one plus. You would have interacted enough with Karun Nair?
Yeah, he was in Punjab Kings when I was there. He got a couple of games there, but didn't get a lot of runs. Very solid. I mean, mentally he's very sorted out.
Yeah. Because we also know his story, isn't it, Wasim? The whole left out of the Indian team after. There is an argument that Hanuma Vihari jumped the queue at the time because he was in really good form in domestic cricket, and Karun was just on the bench for so long in England, all the way back. I wonder whether you saw something about how his state of mind is, what kind of person he was when you carry that emotion of life should have been kinder to me.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody who's got 100 in Test cricket, not many have done that. He had few failures after that, understandably. But he was somebody who's got runs consistently in first-class cricket. And I was surprised that Karnataka also dropped him for him to move to Vidarbha, which I found very strange for somebody who's got so many runs consistently. And then for him to go and do things what he did in Vidarbha, scored consistently, went to Northants, got runs there. Been picked in few IPL teams, didn't get an opportunity. So it's a tough story. It's very difficult to keep motivating yourself. But I really like he's very composed, mentally very stable, and technically pretty strong. That's why he get runs all across all formats. And I won't be surprised. I mean, this is IPL, but I would like to see him to go to the England Test series as one of the batters.
Well, it's a good story, like what he has done in the first-class cricket, and today also he performed really well. And I'm really happy for him, because it was a kind of situation for him, as he mentioned, as Wasim bhai mentioned, that he was dropped from the Karnataka squad, then he moved to Vidarbha. And it was kind of blessing in disguise for him, because he was there as a main batter. The team is looking up to him, and he really paid that off. And the way he batted throughout the season, I was watching few of the domestic games as well on TV and during the highlights. He was middling everything on a tough surface also. So that really shows that what kind of a hard work has gone behind to get that many runs.
Has he added something to just his batting though for the T20 game? Some of what we saw today was not necessarily what I recall of Karun Nair even in white ball cricket a few years ago.
He has. I mean, we see him using that sweep shot pretty consistently, that reverse scoop as well. And to Bumrah, I think he played really well, getting out of the line and accessing that offside play. So he's worked on it T20 game as well. Don't forget he was highest run scorer in Karnataka Premier League as well.
Yeah,
after
Maharaja T20 trophy. Yeah,
he was highest scorer there as well, and then after that, stellar domestic season. So he's been among runs for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, if depending on how events turn out, if the Test captain for that tour of England is Jasprit Bumrah, there can be no greater impression made. However, I could see that even after all that, when he clearly accidentally jumped into or barged into Bumrah when he was looking at the ball and Bumrah was turning back to go to his bowling mark, I don't think Jasprit liked it. And Karun was trying to explain to everyone. It was like all the hierarchy of Indian cricket is there. Hardik Pandya is there, Rohit Sharma is there, Bumrah is there. Like, मैंने गलती से, I did not, by mistake, I was looking at the ball. You saw that moment, right?
That should not be the reason for him to get dropped.
It's just a brilliant story. Well done, Karun Nair. Whatever the future holds in course, there's no doubt this is a story that we're all very, very happy to see. Also good to see him at number 3, and that's where he'll probably stay for Delhi Capitals, especially now with the misfiring Fraser McGurk.
If next game you see Faf du Plessis is fit, I feel he should walk in for
JFL.
And then he bats at number 3 and rest of the batting order follows as it is.
That's an interesting one because they need to address that situation as well.
I think Faf and Ishan can open and he can come in at number 3 and KL at 4.
Faf and? Abhishek. Sorry. Yes, sorry, yeah. All right, so that's interesting. Let's take some questions from you lot. 3 run-outs, a disaster. Yeah, that's the game at the end. A lot of good moments, says Triple Stroke, but the silent game-changing moment was that Trent bowled over. It's important over actually. It's pretty big over because he'd bowled 1 over and an expensive one. So.
Yeah, for 18 in the power play. So I think it was a huge thing. Especially he's not someone who's, he does bowl a bit of the death for New Zealand, but he's not someone who's renowned for his death
He's
bowling.
improved though in the last few years. What I liked was 6 Yorkers. Simple plan, wasn't it?
He was sticking to his strength, and that's what you want to do when you're under the pump.
Okay, the C word is being used by some of you, the one that we associate with South Africa at times and whatnot, but I won't mention it. What else do we have? Critical game-changing moment was Stubbs' dismissal. Ujjwal points out that Karun scored 89 of 40, the rest 104 of 74. So you should have that in your notes. Ujjwal's trying your job.
Yeah, he's getting my job.
Cristiano Ronaldo says, time to drop Jake Fraser McGurk. The thing is, I get your points that Faf might come in, but the whole thing was to see him at Delhi. They've only played 1 game here, and when you get out first ball, sometimes that's not doing as much justice as, say, a scratchy 10 of 12 or something like that. Would you give him some more time?
You have already given him enough time because it's not only about Delhi game. Visakhapatnam was also good wicket where runs were getting scored. And it's not only about this IPL. After the IPL in 2024, Matt will give you the exact number, what's his average and the strike rate.
It's about 15, I think, in terms of average. In the Big Bash, he had 1 innings in the whole season, which kind of boosted his stats quite significantly. He's had a really quiet time of it since then.
I see you and Matt are really
Yes.
We are getting well. Because I'm on off since tomorrow, after tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, it's like Chawla one end, Harbhajan Singh the other, spin bowling in pairs.
Yeah.
Very effective.
Well, I will say, I think it's an interesting thing to see. We've not spoken about Abhishek Parel, who did score relatively slowly in the context of the game. And it's one of those tricky ones where it's like, in some ways I see the benefit of the partnership batting there, where he was ticking over and giving the strike to Karun Nair. You could also look at it the other way and say he's faced a lot of balls and scored pretty slowly, 132 in the context of a 400-run game.
Interesting. Would we pinpoint at Parel? I thought he did his job. But the final numbers don't look pretty.
Yeah, but in the context of the game, the way Karun was going about the business, so you don't need somebody to do the thing from both the ends, I feel. So I think he was right on his part. It's just that the numbers are looking not that great, but he was in that partnership to give that supporting role.
I guess if you write down things that went wrong today from a Delhi coach's point, Parel would probably be at 9, 10 or somewhere there. There are a few things before that. This is an interesting one on whether lower order batters ever discuss what is the plan. Like surely between Mohit and Kuldeep or Stark, you would know, are we pushing for 2 year or are we going to look for a single? How are we going to, do they ever, lower order batters, discuss simulations like this?
No, I don't think so. And I was very disappointed with Kuldeep as well. The way he ran that second run, he should have completed that. He had enough time. That was a massive moment as well. Had he played that last ball, not got out, Stark facing Trent Bolt, it could go up, anyway.
Yeah, that's
so,
true. They still
it was very lazy from Kuldeep.
They just don't, the lower order batters just don't play like Piyush Chawla anymore.
They don't believe in their abilities anymore. So that's why they don't play like that.
Oh gosh. All right. What else do we have? Two impact players having a huge impact on the game. And long may it continue. Yeah, that can't argue with that. Does DC's death bowling look a little weak? Asks Ujwal in the absence of T. Natarajan. I guess it's a fair question now, given Stark has had two tough games back to back.
And Mohit wasn't at his best today either. I think 3 overs, none for 40. He had that towards the end. He looked like he was nailing his wide Yorkers, and then a couple of full tosses slipped in there that really damaged him.
I'll just take this last one from Abhishek. Should Karun Nair go to England?
He's in my team for sure.
Piyush?
I don't know. It's as simple as you get.
I'm sure Northants would love him back.
Yeah, when you say go to England, you're not specified exactly where. Anyway, that is pretty much it. But an excellent game. Maybe we'll spend a little time on the first innings to just try and see if this was a tough pitch. I said I'll talk about the pitch. How valuable Tilak's innings was given the result of the game now.
Tilak's contribution was massive, I feel, because you want somebody to play till the last, take the game deep, and because of that, Mumbai was able to cross 200 plus.
Yeah, and I think that drop catch also from Stubbs, that has hurt them as well. That Vipraj Nigam drop catch of Tilak. And then again he went on and got 15-20 runs more.
Yeah, absolutely. Stubbs has had a night to forget, and Tilak, after being retired out, has now played two outstanding 50s. I mean, this is a great response.
Yeah.
At one point we were concerned that day what it will do for his confidence for the rest of the game.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it could have a reverse effect, but he has taken it positively and proved that he's a top player.
So full credit to Mahila and Hardik for
Doing that thing.
Yeah, see, that's it, PC. That's how it works. Okay, right. Player of the match is Karun Sharma. Very interesting that, because you could have, in this game, Karun was almost ready for his, acceptance speech, you would think. But it's gone to Karun Sharma. Is that a fair call for you?
100% it's a fair call. When he came to bowl, the situation was not that easy to bowl, and it looked like the game is going Delhi's way, and coming and bowling that 4-over spell and picking up those 3 crucial wickets, that really changed the course of the game in Mumbai's favour.
Delhi lost their first game. But is this just a blip and you see them as a very good side anyway? Or is this kind of loss sometimes could it trigger, spill over into future games?
I think they'll be disappointed because it was one of those games where they should have won. They won the first one where they shouldn't have won.
Yeah, Lucknow. Yeah.
So, they'll be disappointed that this was the game to win. They would have gone way too closer again from qualification. So, they'll be disappointed that at their home, they've lost this one.
They would have been only the 3rd team in IPL history to win their first 5 games in a season, but neither of the first 2 went on to win the title. So who knows? Maybe it's not a bad thing to get a loss out of the way.
And those 2 teams before were?
Kings 11, who might well have won it but for this man sitting a couple down, and Rajasthan in 2015.
Very good, Matthew. Very good. Excellent. So Delhi Capitals, they have tasted defeat for the first time. Mumbai Indians, what a much needed win that is. We'll see the effect on the points table just before we wrap things up, but it's time for our rapid fire review. We had to change these questions very quickly towards the end, so it took a little time. Now it's here. Okay, let's go. Wasim, you first. Tilak and Naman stand or Karun's 3-4? Who do you think was the bigger game changer for Mumbai?
I think both of them, had that partnership not happened, they wouldn't have crossed 200. But if Karan hadn't taken those 3 wickets, Mumbai wouldn't have won. So I think both of them have equal importance.
All right. Piyush Chawla, many moments in the second innings, but what was the biggest turning point for you in Delhi's chase?
Karan's 2 wicket, when he got Stubbs and KL Rahul out, those were the big moment.
Matt, how big a bearing did the change in ball have on the outcome?
I think huge. Allowed MI to bowl spin deeper into the innings, and they really squeezed hard there.
Piyush, back to you. 3 for 36 and crucial wickets in his first outing. What did Karun Sharma do right today?
I think, first of all, he believed in himself, and He bowled in the right areas. The length was very crucial on this particular pitch, and he bowled in really good area. Most of the balls were hitting the stumps. That's really important.
Wasim, back to you. 89 of 40 in his first IPL innings in 3 years. What stood out in Karun Nair's innings?
I think with the clarity that he played and his shot making in different part of the ground to top bowlers as well. I mean, especially Bumrah.
All right. And finally, you can all take this. When Faf returns, would you keep Karun Nair and remove Jake Fraser McGurk? Matt?
Be tempted to have KL Rahul keeping and get rid of Perel.
I'll definitely get Jake Fraser McGurk out and Faf and Ishan Abhishek to open, and Karun bats 3 and KL 4.
Piyush?
I don't know who's going to open with Faf, but McGurk is done for me.
Okay, simple as that. Thank you very much to Piyush Chawla, Wasim Jaffer, Matt Roller. Let's just look at what the points table looks like. That is 2 huge results on Saturday night and Sunday night. Sunrisers, in spite of them going to 7, are now back to 9th as a result of the constant shifting in the points table. It's getting tight, but Mumbai Indians, much needed points, and they still have a very healthy net run rate in the positives in spite of being at number 7 because of that massive win against KKR and these narrow defeats against LSG and RCB. But we now have some really, really important games coming up. You sense Delhi faced defeat for the first time, which means Gujarat Titans finish this weekend top of the points table. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being part of the conversation as always. Piyush, Wasim, Piyush, you have a little break, I think, from us now on the couch. But
From everyone.
From everyone.
For next 5 days.
Oh, excellent. Please enjoy your time, but we can't wait to have you back. Thank you so much, PC. Mr. Jaffer, I will see you again tomorrow. Matt, you deserve a break off as well for being so good.
Too kind, Ronak.
I know, I am. Thank you very much to Matt Roller as well. And we look forward to your company tomorrow. Lucknow Super Giants and Chennai Super Kings. That's a super important game for the Super Kings. That's a lot of supers. It's time to wrap it up. See you tomorrow. Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Weekend for Timeout will be live just before the toss. Good night.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.